Welcome to Buddha's Path. Learn and practice Buddhism, where we embark on a journey of wisdom, compassion, and transformation through the teachings of the Buddha. Today, we invite you to explore a profound question that touches the heart of every practitioner. What is the meaning of suffering in Buddhist practice? Why does the Buddha teach us not to turn away from pain, but instead to understand and embrace it on the path to awakening? In the tapestry of human experience, suffering is a thread that runs through every life. It manifests as physical pain, emotional turmoil, loss, disappointment, and the many challenges that arise from living in a world of constant change. Buddhism does not shy away from this reality. In fact, the first of the Four Noble Truths, the foundation of Buddhist teaching, states that life is marked by dukkha, a word often translated as suffering or unsatisfactoriness. But what does this really mean, and how can suffering become meaningful, even transformative, in our spiritual journey? To begin, let us reflect on the Buddha's own story. Siddhartha Gautama, sheltered from the harsh realities of life, ventured beyond palace walls and encountered sickness, aging, and death. These encounters shook him to his core, awakening a deep sense of existential suffering. Yet, rather than despairing, Siddhartha chose to confront suffering head-on. This courageous facing of pain became the catalyst for his quest for enlightenment. In this way, suffering was not an obstacle, but a doorway, a teacher that called him to seek deeper understanding. For practitioners, suffering is not merely something to be endured or escaped. It is a message, an invitation to look more deeply into the nature of reality. When we experience pain, whether physical or emotional, we are given the opportunity to observe the workings of our mind. How do we react? Do we grasp at pleasure, resist discomfort, or blame ourselves and others? Do we spiral into fear, anger, or despair? In these moments, we begin to see the patterns of attachment and aversion that bind us, the very causes of suffering the Buddha described. Through mindful awareness, we learn to hold suffering with gentle curiosity rather than harsh judgment. Instead of pushing pain away or becoming lost in it, we create space to witness it as it truly is. This practice of mindfulness opens a window into the impermanent and conditioned nature of all experiences. We see how sensations arise and fade, how emotions shift and change, and how thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. Gradually, we discover that suffering too is impermanent. It is not personal, nor is it fixed. When we stop identifying with our pain, we begin to loosen the grip of ego and illusion. But the meaning of suffering in Buddhist practice goes even deeper. The Buddha taught that suffering is a universal experience, shared by every living being. This insight awakens compassion within us. When we recognize our own pain, we become more sensitive to the pain of others. The walls of separation begin to dissolve, and a sense of interconnectedness arises. Compassion is not pity, nor is it sentimentality. It is the deep wish that all beings may be free from suffering, coupled with the willingness to act for their welfare. In this way, suffering becomes the ground for both wisdom and compassion. It drives us to seek understanding and to extend kindness, both to ourselves and to the world. The path of practice is not about escaping suffering, but about transforming our relationship to it. We learn to meet life's difficulties with equanimity, seeing them as opportunities for growth and awakening. Consider the lotus flower, a powerful symbol in Buddhist tradition. The lotus blooms in the muddy waters, its beauty arising from conditions that might seem unfavorable. Likewise, our own awakening can arise from the mud of suffering. When we cultivate mindfulness, ethical conduct, and loving kindness, the very difficulties we face can nourish the roots of wisdom. We begin to see suffering not as a punishment or a burden, but as the fertile soil in which our spiritual potential can flourish. Of course, this is not always easy. When pain is intense or overwhelming, it can feel impossible to find meaning. But Buddhism encourages us to approach suffering with patience and humility. We do not force ourselves to be cheerful or to deny our anguish. Instead, we practice acceptance, acknowledging our experience as it is, without embellishment or denial. We honor our vulnerability, knowing that it is part of being human. As we walk this path, we discover that suffering can be a powerful catalyst for transformation. It calls us to question our assumptions, to let go of rigid identities, and to open to the mystery of life. It teaches us to be present, to appreciate moments of joy and peace, and to develop resilience in the face of adversity. Ultimately, the meaning of suffering in Buddhist practice is not found in the pain itself, but in our response to it. Will we turn away, or will we turn toward the heart of our experience and discover wisdom and compassion waiting there? Let us remember the words of the Buddha. Just as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so wise people are not shaken by praise or blame. Through the practice of mindfulness and compassion, we can become like that solid rock, steadfast and serene amid the storms of life. Suffering, then, becomes the teacher that guides us on the path to liberation. Thank you for joining us today on Buddha's Path. Learn and practice Buddhism. If you found this reflection meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Together, let us continue to walk the path of wisdom, compassion, and inner peace.